Good morning! Welcome back. If you are new here, my name is Erika Jane. I like to make a ton of random videos, usually around the theme of homemaking, home bakery things, more so pregnancy recently, which we are going to get into today. So today's video is going to be a bit of a second trimester recap because somehow we're already in the third trimester. So I wanted to film this before I got too far into the third trimester and my energy lightly will go, / my priorities are probably going to shift. So grab a tea, maybe a little snack, I have some fruit here. We'll just go through the nitty gritty, all of the fun that has been having through that I've been having through the second trimester. So whether you're pregnant now, you're hoping to be in the future and are just trying to get information, I hope you enjoy. Hopefully this is just entertainment, if not anything else, but we will get right into it. So I started keeping track of how I was feeling throughout the second trimester just in my notes. So I'm gonna pull that up. Sitting on my exercise ball, now in the stage of pregnancy where I'm not supposed to like lean, and that has been how I've been sitting on the couch. So trying to sit more on my ball and then lie down if I'm not. So that is the scene today. Loving matching pajama sets. Got these at Value Village. They have been amazing. / this is really my first time wearing it, but I've been wearing it for 2 days now. But pants fit the bump, shirt fits, very light. It's good for this temperature right now. It's like 10 degrees Celsius. So we're coming out of the coldness and I am excited. Okay, coming back around. If you watched my first trimester recap, it was very long. It was all 2 hours. So definitely overdid it there, but was filming like every little thing. Like when I first thought I was pregnant, when I didn't know if I was pregnant, then all the symptoms I was feeling, the moments where I was just here by myself, I was filming little snippets of myself, like just feeling sick, things like that. I didn't do as much filming like that in the second trimester. So I have a few little clips I'll probably put in here, but the majority of it will just be us talking. So things I noticed in the second trimester. So that starts, I guess technically 13 weeks or like 12 weeks until 28 weeks. Yeah, 28 weeks is the start of the third trimester. I'm pretty confident. Or it's 27. It's 27 or 28, now I'm blanking. But what I noticed initially was acne really ramped up, specifically on my face, but also my forehead and my hairline, which is very weird for me. And I guess that's common because I'm pregnant with a little girl. So a lot of times people say your skin and they suck your beauty. That's something I've heard people say. But yeah, my acne has been very bad, pretty much all over my face, mainly my forehead here. Then besides that, morning sickness still hung around. I know a lot of people find their morning sickness stops like right around 12 or 13 weeks, like right after the first trimester is over, but I did not. So I was still in like relatively consistent morning sickness, probably till around 20 weeks. Not every day at this stage. This was probably like every few days, or like it tapered off to like once a week. And then I wrote down here, still no nausea, but no vomiting currently at 25 weeks. And right after I wrote that, pretty much, I did get sick again. That, I think, may be more tied to my low iron, is you get blood work in the second trimester, generally for your glucose test, and then there's a few other things they test. So I did not do the gestational diabetes test. I didn't do the glucola drink. I just did a regular blood work check to check my blood sugar levels, just like normal, and everything was fine. I didn't have any risk factors, so that was part of it, and they had no like substitutions to offer. a lot of places offer something called the fresh test, or like you can drink grape juice or like things like that, or like a handful of jelly beans. But the glucola drink really, I don't know, I didn't want to put that in my body, and I've heard a lot of people say it kind of just like puts them into shock because it's such a high amount of sugar. And I'm like not good at drinking like pops or things like that anyways, so didn't do that, and I've just been kind of like trying to eat a bit well-rounded. I mean, saying that, I'm still eating ice cream and like all those things, but like also focusing on protein and a lot of fiber and carbs and good things like that. So coming back to the blood work, I didn't end up doing that test, but you still need to do blood work then. And this is when they recheck your iron and your ferritin levels, like your actual iron stores. So my first blood work, when I initially found out I was pregnant, my iron was like good, totally great. My ferritin stores were high, and like 10 to 12 is where they want it. That's like a good point for your ferritin. And when I got it checked the second time, like a month ago, it was at 4. So I started feeling symptoms like the day I got blood work, which was weird. Yeah, we were driving home and I just started getting like, I had a headache initially, and then that turned into dizziness and just very like out of it, and then had to get car pulled over, and I did get sick. So then I was sick the next day as well, and just like very low energy. And yeah, I've been taking an iron supplement for the last little bit, probably a few weeks now, a couple weeks, maybe a few weeks. But that has been making a huge difference. There are a few like weird side effects like constipation, which if you're pregnant or will be, that's already something you're kind of dealing with. So I've been increasing my fiber even more, and just kind of trying to pay attention with when I have it. I've been taking it at night to kind of ease like stomach symptoms and stuff like that. But yeah, that has been quite helpful. And now they'll do my blood work again, not this Friday, but next week. And if it's still low, they'll likely recommend an iron transfusion. So we'll see. We'll see if that happens. I've heard a lot of people say they're great, like you feel so much better after. So we'll see if I need one of those, but that'll be in the 3rd trimester. Yeah, now I did write down I was getting a bit more energy. I have been able to drive and like do a few things that way, so that has been nice. Because if you watch the 1st trimester video, I did not leave like for weeks. Like I was doing nothing. So I am very grateful I've had some more energy throughout this period, and like have done a little bit of errands. Like I went to the laundromat yesterday, like little things that most people are just doing, but for me it's like, oh my god. So energy's coming back a little bit, and also slowly going down again. Other than that, in terms of like energy, it's like more of a, I don't know, I've definitely gotten into nesting phases now. So there's like a physical urge to do things, but my body is like, don't. So pushing against that a little bit. Not in terms of energy, but I guess anxiety. That is one thing I really noticed increased in the 2nd trimester. And whether that was still there in the 1st trimester, it's hard to say, because I was just so physically exhausted that I feel like I didn't have the mental capacity to feel anxious, if that makes sense. Like I was just so unwell and horizontal that anxiety was not coming to my head. But that has been a lot higher in the 2nd trimester, and like anxiety over postpartum boundaries, anxiety over like what to do for baby, anxiety over myself, like just like general anxiety has been a lot higher. And I think that was partially like, was worse when I was like, I started to get a little bit more energy, but still wasn't doing that well. So then I was thinking of all the things I wanted to do or get done, and then I was like, I can't. And also, I've never been pregnant before. I've never been a mom. So there's a lot of like first time thoughts that I'm having, like, what is postpartum gonna look like? How will I be feeling? Like, visitors, boundaries, so many things like that. And it's like, it's overwhelming to think about. But I have done more research and stuff.
Hi, buddy. You wanna come snuggle? Come here, handsome. There you go. We'll have a little biscuit maker here. Yeah.
So that has been hard some days. Other days it's not as noticeable. I've had a few good days where I've just like gotten some things done, and that helps. And more so like checking things off the list. Like, I am such a list person, and I kind of stopped making lists, but I took some time and actually wrote out like postpartum freezer meal ideas. What's kind of left for me to get in terms of like postpartum aftercare, what we need to still get for baby. I inventoried all of her clothes. Like, literally inventoried it on my notes. For onesies, like the sleepers, pants, other things from each size.
Yeah, hi, buddy.
So that has been helping. And then like we're checking things off slowly. So all of these things together are lessening the anxiety, and then I just have to surrender to it, really, is what I'm learning. There's going to be things that will not be figured out until after. There's going to be things that may never be figured out, and we'll just like learn as we go with baby. So that's where I'm at there. I'll probably do a little like maybe a smaller video of like nesting or like things I'm doing there, because I've started making like kind of a nursery postpartum cart situation. I'll probably put my postpartum stuff in the actual bathroom down here, and then the cart that has that stuff, like right now it has all my breastfeeding stuff, so like the pump, nursing pads, silverettes, nipple cream, all of that stuff. And then I want to have like a section for diapers and like diaper cream, soothers, like all that stuff. And then like snacks and things in the breastfeeding section too. So I'll show you guys that in another video likely. But it started. We have a lot of the supplies now. I got one more delivery this morning, and that was like most of the physical items, like the peri bottle, the diapers, the silverettes, all of that. So the things that I'll get closer to are going to be like snacks for breastfeeding, electrolytes, potentially Costco. Like, really just depends on when we're going places. But yeah, that's where I'm at there. Another thing, oh my god, being congested. I have been congested since like I found out I was pregnant, and that is weird. Like, I'm not as tuned into it now because it's just kind of a part of my being, but like my ability to take a deep breath has been gone for months. And that was something I wasn't totally prepared for. Also, similarly, on the same level, the amount of blood in your nose. Sorry, if you're not pregnant, you don't want to like hear about this stuff. You may just want to pop out. Some of it is just like weird TMI symptoms. But I have never been one to get nosebleeds, and like there's so much blood in my nose constantly. It's like, what? But apparently that's like by the third trimester, your body has increased blood supply by up to 50%. So there's 50% more blood running through me right now. So that's part of it. With that, I'm also very warm now. Like, I've been noticing night sweats more. And just like generally, I'm hotter than I usually am. So I usually run kind of cold, but that is not the case right now. What else? Just looking at my little checklist here. yeah, having to pee way more often, that I was kind of prepared for, but now it's like, it is full on every hour, waking up in the night, every hour or two. I've had a few stretches where I sleep like 3 or 4 hours and then you wake up and you're like, oh my God. So that's funny. I've felt baby move a lot more now. Now she's moving like really regularly, but I first probably felt her like, let's say 23, 24 weeks. And now I'm 29 weeks, I'll be 30 weeks on Friday. So now she's moving all the time. Yeah, those have been way more moody, way more irritable. And that has been like, also just like more emotional, more weepy, like crying at random things, crying at like random reels that normally wouldn't, like just emotional. Like the last midwife appointment, she was just like, oh, sorry I made you cry. I'm crying every day. Like something will make me cry every day. And it's not like, it's not even like I'm sad or like, sometimes I am, but like most of the time it's just emotion just like coming out and just like, ah. So that's been fun. Yeah, I wrote down around 22 weeks started to get nesting feelings, and now they're like very much so there. Went to the laundromat yesterday, washed all of baby's clothes, besides like a few little hats and things. But yeah, washed so many baby clothes yesterday. Starting to get like weird urges too. Like I want to clean the shelves in the bathroom. Just like yeah. Less typical pregnancy things. Like she's not going to look at the shelves in the bathroom, but I do want to store things in there. So that's like really all I have written down for my notes for the second trimester. Really, it's just been a lot of like low key, not doing a ton. I've been doing a lot of research in terms of like childbirth, natural childbirth, things like that. This has been a wonderful book, Natural Childbirth, The Bradley Way. And I've actually had this since like a few years before I even like, we thought about being pregnant, like just had this here. And I have a few other books, The First 40 Days, which I found at Value Village a few years ago, and then Mom and Natural, which is like more of a pregnancy, childbirth, week by week one. And then the First 40 Days is like for the 4th trimester, so like postpartum. Doing a lot more research on that. Trying to get some more stretches in. We were going to the gym quite regularly, once or twice a week for a lot of the second trimester. And I was just like walking on the treadmill. But then as my iron dipped too, that was getting a lot harder. So yeah, that has not happened for a little bit, but I've been doing more stretches on the ball. This will be more third trimester stuff, but now I'm starting to get like back pain and like hip pain from like sleeping and just like existing. So we're adjusting. We're just adjusting how we're doing things. What else for second trimester? Oh, if you haven't been pregnant before, you might not know that it happens that early, but I've started like leaking. Like your colostrum will start to come in, and just like small amounts, but like after like 23 weeks. So that has happened, that is happening. Won't start collecting colostrum though until later on in the third trimester, because that can sometimes like, I don't know, trigger labor or just like stimulate it more. So not doing that till like 36 weeks. Yeah, I guess the rest of the second trimester has been a lot of like mental preparation though too, like thinking about birth plans, thinking about what I want to do there, trying to research what hospitals do here, the cascade of interventions, just arming myself with as much knowledge as possible so then when I get into the actual situation of labor, I'm not asking those questions then. So yeah, asking about C-sections, Pitocin. Like, one thing I didn't realize is Pitocin is often administered right after you have the baby without you even really realizing. Because I've heard of Pitocin being used as like an induction method, which I was familiar with, and I've done research on that myself. But I was not familiar with the way they give it after you give birth. And that is to reduce the risk of hemorrhages. But it is such a small risk at that period because, well, it's not total small risk, like you're still at risk of hemorrhaging, right? But like intervening in the physiological process of birth, like it's hard to describe, is they administer the Pitocin to like kind of trigger your body to contract a bit more to deliver the placenta, and some places will pull on the cord, which is no. That can cause a slew of problems, like turning the uterus in. Like, yeah, it's things I don't want to mess around with. So being aware of that now, I'm like, okay, I do not want that right off the bat. But then you have to be ready to, like, if you say no at first, they're going to try and push you once that 30 minutes is up. Like, if you still haven't delivered the placenta, they're going to try and urge you more to get the Pitocin, even if your body's going through a normal, natural, like, process of birth and things are okay. So that's a tough one. There's a lot of things like that I'm just trying to, like, understand before I'm actually in the hospital making those decisions. Because in labor, I'm not going to be able to really question or stand up for myself in that same way, I don't think. So that's what a lot of this second trimester has been, like, researching, figuring out what questions to even ask my midwives. But yeah, have done a little bit more baking recently, so that has been nice. Now we're trying to get into like postpartum freezer meal prep, so I'm trying to like mentally think, / I have a list going as well of what meals I want to make, like start making. So see a Costco trip in the future where we'll probably get a lot of ingredients we'll need, and then that will start. Because now I'm at almost 30 weeks, so it could be a good time to start. We're right on the cusp. But yeah, that's where I've been at here. That's kind of what the second trimester has looked like so far. So way more positive than the first, I will say that. So if you are worried about that, if you're nervous about like what pregnancy will hold, the first trimester was really, really hard, I will be honest. But coming out of that into the second trimester, it is a lot more hopeful. I feel a lot lighter and more excited about it. First trimester was hard to actually get into that excited mindset because I just felt so garbagey. And now it's kind of helping me. It's like physically, I'm not getting sick really as often, knock on wood, but I'm just getting more tired. So I think it'll just be a mental game of like keeping myself positive, keeping things going, and just like, yeah. Baby will get here when she's ready, and I don't want to rush that, and I don't want her to come before, so just need to lean into what is, which is I am tired. I'm not doing what I am normally doing, and that's okay, because I'm growing a human. So if you're in a similar spot and you're also growing a human, give yourself lots of grace because you're doing a lot right now. Take it easy, check in with friends, keep trying to connect. I know I'm not scared to, like, I don't know. I'm just anticipating not being able to stay connected in the same way, especially when I'm freshly postpartum. So I am trying to talk to my friends more, connect with other moms, like things like that, before the baby is here. But yeah, that's about it for now. So that is what that is what the second trimester has looked like really for me here. And I plan to share more on kind of how I'm prepping for postpartum, what's in my cart, and nesting as we get closer to baby actually being here. So if that sounds good to you, maybe hit that subscribe button or the like button, maybe even the notification bell if you don't want to miss these. My schedule is very inconsistent though, so I do not have a set day that I'm uploading at this time. It's just been when I've had the energy and when I felt up to it. So I will see you in the next one. Bye for now.